Continue. All right, guys, happy Saturday to you. This is the first Saturday training of 2022. So this is super exciting, guys. A whole new year to, start over or revamp your goals and plans and to, hit everything that you want out of this business or in life, just in general, right? Make new habits, right? And old habits. So you got a whole year to do it. And if you didn't like your last year, guess what? Now you got a new year to get it done. So welcome to team training, guys, where you get all the information you need to have success this week and every week thereafter. If you're not sure about these different areas of the business that you sell in, like hiring, closing business, or even your trip, you're going to get all that information today, all right, from our top leaders. So please pull out your notepads, your pens, your pencils, or whatever device to take your notes, all right, so that you can have that success and you can keep it somewhere where you can always look at it so that you can be great at this business, guys. All right, so as you know, guys, I always off our training with our top 10 submit, so you can kind of hear the names of the people that are having success and in submitting business that you can reach out to and kind of pick their brain. So top 10 submit January week 1. And at number 10, we have Willie P, $4,693. Joshua Khan, great job, Josh, $5,197. Leticia A, $5,278. I myself, $5,426. Justin M, $5,624. Will Crandell, $6,123. You're going to hear from this beautiful woman today. Rachel C, $8,618. Eugene M, $9,562. Richard M, $11,785. And then there number one, Ryan Urbanski, $14,814. Guys, this is in a week. So great job to all of you that I highlighted. All right, you also have a chance to be in the top 10, but you gotta go to work. All right, so let's start with some announcements, guys. I do want to go back over and talk about how important it is to have work spots. Work spots is so important, guys, especially if you're in this business. Take a look at the Zoom. All right, there's the flyer for work spots. Please only purchase work spots if you're licensed and contracted. But if you have the money and you want to sign up, great job. Go ahead, go right on. You can find an office nationwide that's close to you that you can plug into, so you have an environment to work out of. I know a lot of people don't. Some people don't like working from home. So for $99 a month, which is extremely expensive and also a business write-off, you have access to an office that's local and close to you. What does it mean to be in that office? You can connect with top producers, get all the information you need to have a successful business. There's weekly live trainings. You can use their Wi-Fi. You have an office space to work, right? But most importantly, guys, why we use this is the coupons and the discounts that we get on our exclusive leads that are already affordable. So please make sure you sign up. It's so great in this business because you save tons and tons of money just by being a member and having access to a local office. All right. Then the next thing that I want to talk about, guys, is the Fast Track Academy. We're really promoting this Fast Track Academy. What is that, right? It's an opportunity, guys, for you to get off to a fast start. We have so many people that we're bringing on into this business, whether it be licensed or unlicensed. The Fast Track Academy that's on our Zoom is run by a gentleman named Julian. Julian Dickinson. He is a great leader. He really closes about 50,000 or more from home each and every month consistently. So he is one of the best people to kind of go over this. And, he talks about every part of the business and getting started. You also have an opportunity to ask questions live and get help in any area of this business and understand what you're a part of and how to move forward. So I'm actually going to post that after we get off what the dates are. We have several dates coming up, so you can decide based on your schedule which one would be the best fit for you. But again, if you're new to this business, whether you're licensed or I strongly suggest that you get on that Fast Track Academy because we're just producing so many leaders that are having success out of those classes. So that's a great deal. And then last but not least, guys, convention. Guys, this is going to be a big deal. This is one of the biggest events that you'll ever attend that we have. It's our annual convention. It's going to be held in Miami, Florida from February 2nd to the 5th. So that gives everybody time and an opportunity to be able to sign up and to, you know, pay your airfare and hotel. It is a free event, guys. And let me tell you how good you got it, because a lot of us on this Zoom call came from a company where we had to pay for everything, but for conventions, meetings, CDs, right? Training. I mean, we didn't even really make a lot of, and all the money that we did make went right back into getting people and tickets and events. It was just a crazy mess, right? But the great thing about our company is that our president decided that all of our trainings and conventions and meetings are absolutely free. So you have an opportunity to, it's like the NFL, it's like the All-Star game, or the ending goal of any sport that you play, right? Where you can go and get all the information you need from the Kobe's and the LeBrons and the Michael Jordans, right, of the industry. And you can really change your life. I'm a product of that convention, and all the leaders that you see just crushing it on a day-to-day basis, they are also products of that convention. So if you want to know what you're a part of, if you want to be ahead of the game, if you want to be ahead 6 months to a year of anybody else, all right, that didn't go, and typically the ones that don't go usually don't stick around too long. But I can guarantee you, if you go to this event and you come back and you use all the information that you learn and put it into action, you are going to win with whatever it is you came here to do with Family First Life. So I strongly suggest you sign up. If you're worried about COVID, guys, we're going to follow COVID guidelines to a T. And according to whatever, you know, CDC guidelines, or, you know, whoever has the rules or are holding the rules, right? We're going to follow it. But this is a must-attend event. Register now. And we have thousands upon thousands of people already going already. So make sure you register. It's going to be a crazy event. And the explosion coming back is going to be even crazier. So I'm going to pass it over to our very own agency owner, Kali. She is our EVP. I'm going to pass it over to her.
Hey guys, good morning. I'm not going to show my picture because I am under the weather and y'all don't want to see me this morning. But I wanted to take a couple minutes to congratulate. So guys, this is very exciting. Like, promotions are always very exciting for the business because that is what gives people hope. And this lady has been with me basically since the beginning, and she has not stopped moving forward, no matter what she has dealt with over the last couple, I'm gonna say almost 2 years. She hasn't even been 2 years in the business. But she came from another IMO. She's probably the hardest working woman any of us, all of us on the phone know. I know she's the hardest working woman I know. And her and her team, FFL High Voltage, for the month of December, hit their VP contract. So Corinne High Voltage, and the crazy part, she was with the other company, guys. She came from another company there for 6 years, and she never got the VP because there were so many obstacles in her way. And you know, anything great, there's going to be obstacles. But the key is sticking and staying and not stopping. And she's a great example of continuing to push forward no matter what's been presented to her. And the thing is, she makes FFL, and she makes what she does look very easy. And I know, because she doesn't complain, and I know what happens behind the scenes. But Corinne, I'm so super proud of you. This is amazing for you to be for the VP the first time. It took you 8 years total to get the VP, which is and most people would have given up a long, long time ago. So Corinne, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations to you and High Voltage and anyone who even put their name on one application, guys. It all matters. It all helps. So Corinne, take about 2 or 3 minutes and just tell people what, I feel like I'm about to cry. Tell people, tell people what what I'm saying, a little bit about your story. Like, don't take too much time. A little bit about your story. 'Cause some of the things you had to go through in the last couple of years to get to where you are right now, and what you want to do next, what you and your guys are going to do next. Okay. Congratulations, Corinne.
Oh, thank you guys. I can truly say it was a team effort. So I just want to give that thanks back to the team, because a lot of people on the team, and I know behind the scenes that I've had conversations with, really made sacrifices, and they weren't sure about the outcome, but they put their faith in our leadership, between me, Killa, and the other leaders on in FFL. And because of that, reaching vice president, guys, when you see those huge numbers that we're doing on a day-to-day basis, that means our team is making money and closing business and helping families, but most importantly, helping their own. So, but thank you. And then I want to give that back to the team too, because it truly, again, was a collective effort. And I just witnessed a lot of what the team, did in that process. And we're still rising, still growing, we're still tackle more goals. And this is not the ending point, but it's a huge milestone. And, I'm just super excited about not only my future, but the future that the team is going in as well. It's been a long journey and a long ride. Before 8 years ago, guys, I was working extremely hard. Why? I don't know. I had 5 jobs, working 2 to 3 jobs, 7 days a week. I even put myself through college and took over 18 credits, worked 2 jobs, drove 3 hours every weekend to bartend on this side and drive back to the Eastern Shore to go to school. And I was a cheerleader at the same time. So my life has always been busy. But before insurance, I was busy going nowhere fast. And I was looking for an opportunity. And so I jumped into my first practice company that I was for 6 years. And I was sold out to the bigger picture because I knew what I wanted. And I thought that that's where I was supposed to be. It's funny how the universe works, but I was there for 6 years, longer than I should have been. But one thing that I knew I knew that something was going to happen. I knew I was going to hit my goals. I just didn't know when. I just knew that I needed to stay focused. And I'm just one of those people that there's always something burning inside, but the flame will never go out. I just shift directions, maybe, and thankfully I shift directions into a new company. When Killa brought me over, and I'll be honest with you, I've gone through a lot, but I accepted the challenge. And what I will say is that I really do know myself. So one of the things that I've known about myself early is that I was willing to go through all the landmines so that none of you would ever have to step on one, that you could get to where you wanted to go too fast by learning from what I did wrong or what didn't go right for me. So I knew I was one of those people. And so the great thing about putting your head down and staying focused, and you're going to have bad moments, bad times, and things that happen to you. I really don't remember. I would have to really sit down and think and to really go over the things that I've been through. But the crazy part about it is when you keep your head down and you keep going, I almost don't remember the things that I've gone through. It just, that's just something that stayed in the past and that has happened. But I went through a lot of down moments, from signing my VP contract twice in the last company, and I was never promoted. Going through a bad leadership, going through a toxic environment, going through toxic relationships, going through toxic friendships, people plotting against me because they just don't like me. They don't like the fact that, I don't know, I am who I am. And some of you could probably relate. Having a baby in business and taking my infant to appointments in the last company, just wanting to be somebody so bad, going through 3 cars within 6 months, all 3 cars, not being able to pay my phone bill in the last company, and, using free apps to dial and reach out to clients. I mean, it's a lot, right? But the great thing about that stuff is that all that matters is staying focused. And I always tell my team this: there's no testimony without a test. And the goal in life, challenges are meant, to be overcame. Records are meant to be broken. And the only way to have a testimony is you have to go through that test. And, hell is going to come, right? But are you going to run through it to get to your heaven, or you're going to stay in it and get burned. And so for me, it's always just staying focused. And then I'm glad I'm able to pour that into my team so that when they have challenges, or when you guys have things that you're going through, I can talk you through it, so that you understand what's supposed to be on the other side. It's been a long journey. It's still another journey to come. As you guys know, new levels, new devils, right? But the great thing about it is that when you continue to overcome obstacles and challenges and adversity, it becomes easier and easier as you go along. And so I'm just grateful that I've always been able to keep my mindset clear, and in a positive light. It's a challenge, but it gets better each day as I continue to work on myself. But most importantly, I'm glad the team gets to see that, because, whatever you're thinking or whatever you're doing, your team does half of that. And so for me, it's just always playing scared in the right direction. Mental toughness, right, Evie, at its best. Evie has watched me go through a lot as well. I remember in the last company, I was pregnant, 9 months pregnant, in the back. Like, I'll never be in the back of a conference again. And I'm yelling on top of a chair, pregnant, like, I'm gonna be VP. And so it's happened, just not in that company, right? So I'm excited. I want to thank the team. And, this is not over. We're going to hit it again this month, the 150,000. And ultimately, right behind Kali is being an integrity partner. She's going to be the first African-American woman to hit integrity, and I'm going to follow suit. And you are who you hang around. You are who you spend your time with. And I'm glad just to be right alongside one of the best leaders in FFL, and it's showing. So thank you. Yes. Thank you, Kali. Thank you, team. Yeah, so let's jump right on in. I don't want to take too much time away from this beautiful woman. Guys, I can tell you right now, I watch her on a consistent basis. We talk when we can, because I know us as leaders are extremely busy in this business, because we all have goals that we're shooting for. And she plays team, guys. This is Rachel. She's on FFL Unity. Right next to her, last month, she closed out and issue paid $33,118. She's always in top 5, top 10 of top submit, as well as issue paid. She has a beautiful partnership with the agency owner of FFL Unity. They work together as a partner team, and all she posts is positive stuff. She only speaks positive stuff, and she's just a huge light to FFL, that I get the honor of, having her come on our call to bless us with how she, not only just her story, but how she has success in FFL in the way that she does it. So please, please, please don't unmute yourself, but if there's like a raise your hand or a clap button that you can press, the way to show this amazing woman, that she's saying and doing everything right, but the way to show her our gratitude and how thankful we are is to use her information and go and have success, and be and let her be the reason that you guys are closing business and home, and a bunch of it. So Rachel, if you are there, girlfriend, please tell us your amazing short story, and then jump right into how you're having so much success on that end home. Thanks, girlfriend.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on. Corinne, seriously, congratulations. There is nobody else. I remember when it came out, Rich and I, we actually just got back from the field, and we're so happy. Like, there is nobody more deserving, who's battled, hell and back. And congratulations. We were so excited to see you get VP, and just to see you kind of go from there. But also, Kali, congratulations. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I'm very excited to help pour into your team today. So good morning, guys. And I think, Corinne, you wanted me to start off with, I'm going to kind of go into very briefly where I was prior to Family First Life. I actually just finished my first full year here with Family First Life. I think my first policy I wrote on the 4th of January last year. So I was brand new over here. I was running around like a chicken without a head. And even though I had many years of previous experience, I had no idea what the heck I was doing, like not one iota at all. I spent 3 years prior to that at a captive agency. Some of you may or may not have come from there. It was really, there was pros and cons. I think there's pros and cons with anything and everything that you do. Biggest thing that I took out of there is what not to do in regards to leadership, how to really help lift everybody up. And also with just working with one carrier, I really found it extremely difficult to help serve these families the way that they need to be served. Because if they don't qualify for that one company that you're able to offer, it's a terrible feeling walking out of there that, you know, you had a chance, but there's nothing really that you could do. So ultimately, many deciding factors led me over here with Family First Life. I'm very blessed to wind up in an organization with FFL National, Fury, High Voltage, every other partnership team that we have on here. And I am working directly with Rich Moore and the rest of FFL Unity. So that's kind of my backstory. I'm going into now going into my 5th year in insurance. And I'm down here in North Carolina. So if you guys have any questions or ever want to take a travel trip down here, feel free. Everyone on our team and really everyone within Family First Life is always willing to help. So always keep that in mind. And Corinne, we wanted to go over kind of in-home stuff.
Yes, like your step-by-step of going and, you know, what you're saying, you know, body language, you know, the words choices that you're using, and also your tag, you know, kind of like what your way of how you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So going into my in-home, there's some things that I've started to tweak starting about last month, and I've carried it over into the new year. I'll kind of let you know what I did previously, even in regards to setting up a schedule, tying them down, you know, how I would run my appointments, how long I would be in my appointments for. So I think everyone in the industry who's been here for a minute, you know, and those who are new, we have a ton of ups. You're also going to hit a little bit of downs. It's a roller coaster, but the biggest thing is you got to keep pushing through. I hit a little bit of a valley, you know, right after coming off of a peak for about a month and a half. And I really had to take a step back and reevaluate, all right, what's going on? What's my problem? I had to diagnose it. I asked so many people above me, my team too. I'm like, what is going on? So I felt like I just wasn't getting the traction that I typically was. And I was booking, I want to say about 50 to 55 appointments a week. Like the activity, the working, the time, it was all there. But I soon came to realize, you know, instead of stacking my days, and I was on dial day, run a day at that point, just trying to get some momentum back up, I would stack my days having 15 to 20 appointments, and I would sit down with maybe one person if I was lucky. And what I came to realize going back to kind of phones was I was throwing everything I possibly could at the wall and hoping something would stick. So what I did change, and this has helped me dramatically too, is tying the people down on the phones. Now I'm going out with, again, I've lessened it dramatically between 8 and 10 appointments, but those 8 and 10 appointments, I am on the phone with them. I'm running through my entire spiel, because if they hang up on me, I'd rather know right then and there that that's fine. That's no problem. But the people who I tie down, I'm telling them to grab a pen and a piece of paper. I'm asking them what color the house is, numbers on the mailbox. What should I be looking out for? Just so that I know if they are willing to kind of play ball with me, those are people that I want to spend my time with, and I want to sit down with, and I want to help them out to the best of my ability. So that's recently what's changed for me. And it's correct. Yeah. And it's really, really helped set the tone instead of, you know, just throwing appointments in the book that really shouldn't be there. You know, your time is so valuable here, and we want to help protect as many people as we possibly can. But you got to realize too, not everybody is going to be your client, and that's okay, because we want the clients who really want it. They know that they need it, and then our job is really to go through that. So I kind of want to transition into my in-home now. Previously, and I've done this for years too, I used to go into rapport building for about 5-10 minutes, you know, talk about the dog, the kids, all that stuff. I cut that out. So immediately, as soon as I get in there, I have everything with me. I have my laptop. I have a couple pieces of paper, which I'm going to go over with you guys later, on top of the client worksheet and just our carrier worksheet. And then I also have my lead information. Now, the leads that I'm running, I'm running CRM leads. I am running instants occasionally whenever they're available. I am running 1 month, and I am running 3 months. That's really it. I don't pay for mortgage anymore. Very seldom will I do the Facebook leads, but I think right now, especially with the WorkSpots discount, And especially with getting started, if you want higher profits, you know, and kind of keeping those business expenses pretty thin, make sure you use that, because they're throwing out discounts left and right. And you're definitely going to be able to get some traction with that. So that being said, as soon as I get into the in-homes, I'm jumping right into it. I'm going to be setting the tone and the pace with them. So John and Mary, hey, listen, as you guys know, my name's Rachel. I'm a field underwriter and a broker. I work with about 30 different companies. I'll hand them the sheet of paper just to look at. Like a lot of the main ones are on there. You might have heard of a couple. So pretty much what we're going to go through today, and I list off exactly what we're doing. Talking about what I'm going to be running them through. We're going to be talking about their health. We're going to be talking about their financials, and we're going to be talking about their goals and why I'm here today. I'm running through that and I'm setting the tone and the pace just so that they know exactly what we're going to be going through. So after I tell them that, I'm like, after I fill out this client worksheet with you, I'm going to be running you through something called an MIB. What that stands for, it's like a medical information bureau. It's like a glorified HIPAA. It's going to help pull up any prescriptions, you know, have me ask a few questions. And then from there, I can kind of figure out what company we could possibly go with after today. Does that sound fair? And I'm constantly asking them, does that sound fair? Is that okay? Are you guys with me? Because I want them to kind of reassure, I'm with you, I'm with you. So after that, filling out the client worksheet, I spend about 5-10 minutes on this. I spend quite a bit of time. We're going over briefly what their income looks like, going over their health very briefly. As people who have been here for a minute, or, you know, the newer agents, as you guys will have come to figure out, typically you're going to be running into the same stuff. You know, if there's something you don't recognize, call the in-home hotline, call the upline. But more often than not, you know, very rarely are people super healthy. But we're running into diabetes. You know, diabetes, you'll figure out, okay, are you insulin? You on the pill? Are you on metformin? And just by knowing, like, and it's stuff that will come to you over time too, but just by being able to recognize, okay, if they're on the pill, asking if it's metformin or insulin, it automatically gives you credibility so that the people will know that you're a professional, you've done this, you've handled this, it isn't a big deal moving forward. So I'm writing that all down there, kind of gauging in the back of my head, all right, what companies would possibly pre-approve them with those pre-existing conditions. And then from there, I'm talking about current life insurance, if they do have any, if they previously had policies, is this the first time that they have sat down with an agent or a broker to obtain their own policy besides work? I want to get the lay of the land. And then after we fill that out, I'm really jumping into why, like, what's the whole reason that I'm here? More often than not, I think, and I'm very guilty of this too, when I first started, is people will go in there and thinking it's just for final expenses, which that might be what the client is thinking as well. You know, just take care of cremation, burial, whatever it might be. I start to ask questions like, what would it look like, John and Mary, if one of you guys weren't here? Let's say yesterday, they didn't come home yesterday. Besides the final expenses, all those last expenses, what else would that look like? Would you be able to stay here if the mortgage wasn't paid? What about income protection? What would that look like? Especially if they're living off of disability or Social Security income too. You might be playing around with a little bit less of income coming in. However, how would that affect? Would they have to move? Would they be able to stay there? All of that stuff. So I really break down and I especially dive in depth in regards to the income. Because the final expenses, that's neither here nor there. Everyone pretty much needs them if they don't already have them. You know, and I'll go through, I'm like, all right, burial, it's about 15,000. And then if we want to factor in inflation later on down the road, because everything is just getting more expensive these days, about 20 years from now, it's probably going to be 30,000. You guys are in relatively good health. I'm hoping, God willingly, you know, we reach well past that 20-year mark, but I also want to account for that as well. So besides just the basic final expenses, whoever the breadwinner is in that family, I will ask he, she, whomever it may be, taking you out of the equation. Like, if you weren't here right now, what would Mary do without your income? And I sit back and I don't say anything and I wait for their response. Because sometimes I need to figure out what matters to them. And at the same time too, I'm getting them to think, I'm asking them the hard questions, I'm bringing out the emotions, and really having them paint the picture of what it would look like with a program like this and what it would also look like without a program, without anything in place, you know? And that kind of comes back to if they're older and they've never done this before, you definitely want to create some problems that you can solve, but you don't want to go creating just these massive problems that send these clients into a tizzy, because I've done it before. And there's a very fine line before, you know, you kind of just start to set them overboard, like, oh my gosh, I should have done this 20, 30 years ago type thing. So in regards to that, I do a lot of breaking it down with stacking whole life policies on them. I'll allocate, obviously, let's say Eagle, if they can go 30,000 there, and then we're talking about income, replacing income monthly. I'll typically replace that for between 6, 12, 18 months. Sometimes I'll go up to 24 or 36 months if they're a little bit on the younger side, if they have that money to help allocate. And I'll break it down with Eagle and whatever else it may be. Let's say Prosperity, that's 35,000. If their income is like $3,000 a month, that covers XYZ. And I'll show them 3 different numbers, but I don't show them anything, absolutely anything, before I run them through that MIB with Eagle if I think that they can go there, or again with Prosperity, because the second that you show numbers and if they can't qualify for that, there's really no going back from there. It gets very tough. You know, you're kind of running in a circle. So I go through pretty much the entire application before I even tell them what company they're going through or show them numbers. As soon as I get to the beneficiary page, that's when I'm writing down on the client worksheet the 3 different options or whatnot. I'll tell them, take a look at that for a minute. I'm going to go over your beneficiary stuff. Let me know which one works best for you guys. And I'll break it down for them and elaborate a little bit further if I need to. Those are some of my bigger homes, you know, you might have seen. And a lot of the times too, in regards to that, do not be afraid if they currently have life insurance. I was actually just with this family. I had to go back out and help her out, but he had probably about 6 different policies that he was paying in on just for himself. And a lot of them were some, you know, not so great policies. Most recently, it was an AIG policy that was obtained from a NASB agent or whatnot. A couple months back, he qualified for level plans with Americo and Prosperity. So we dug through that. In total, previously, what he was paying just for himself was a little bit under $800. So that, as you can imagine, we went from having like in force, just because they have a waiting period, he only had about 32,000 in force because he had a ton of weird policies, to then I replaced them all with Americo, and I stacked it with the Prosperity for 65,000 of whole life in force, wound up saving the client about $125 a month. So I'm writing down and I'm making them go get their policies because I'm not going through it unless I have everything in front of me. Because originally what they want to do is stack another Eagle on top of everything. And that's where we ran through their budget. You're able to help save them money, and then if they're already paying on a policy that might not be the best fit for them, you're able to help reallocate that money that they're already spending into a better product and a better company that's going to best suit that client's needs. Now I did have to go back out to that family. I was with them for a couple hours going through everything. I have an annuity that I wound up finding out that they had some money elsewhere that I'll be going out, but it's really just asking the right questions and doing your job thoroughly. And, you know, just really getting to know your clients. Additionally, on top of that, I've been doing that a lot lately. The amount of time I'm spending in an appointment, it used to be about 30 to 45 minutes tops. If I'm going through something like that, and even in general too, I'm solidifying everything. I am there for well over an hour. So do not be afraid to kind of slow things down, go at your own pace. You need to take control of the appointment, and whatever speed you're at, that's okay. As long as you're in control and you're helping guide them from step A through step Z in that appointment, they're going to be okay with it. So please don't rush it, especially, you know, if it's a larger deal you're writing up on the books. What else was I going to talk about?
Let me ask you a question. So we got a bunch of new people on here, and I can kind of like feel their energy right now. They're like, I don't even know what the heck you're talking about. But to the licensed agents,
nearly in a mile a minute, so I'm so sorry.
Okay. To agents that have been writing business or have been in the industry, you make complete sense, right? but we got a bunch of new people on here. And I want to step in and ask you, because again, a lot of them don't have a life insurance background or an annuity background. But in order really, really, really good, you have to keep doing the basics consistently. So if you can kind of tell to the newest people on here, what were the steps that you took to get really, really good at being in the home and learning? Because some people think they have to come here, and then when they're licensed, they need to learn everything first before they go, getting
No.
Can you kind of talk about that for me, like those points on how you became successful at being good?
Yeah, absolutely. So me personally, like I said, I came from just one company. I was captive. That's all I had. So coming over here, I had no idea a lot. I mean, a lot of the companies I had heard of, I knew that they were reputable companies. We only work with really great companies. But I didn't know the product, and I was getting so overwhelmed with, okay, what do I do here? What do I do there? And it was really just like life insurance anywhere, it's learn as you go. This is why we have such great leadership in place. We have the in-home hotline in place so that you can fill out the client worksheet. It's very simple. Call one of us up, run through, hey, I'm sitting down with Mr. John Smith. He's 62 years old, currently taking XYZ, has been diagnosed with this, had a heart attack 3 years ago. We'll let you know exactly where to go through with that and what exactly he's looking for with that as well. So do not get overwhelmed by the product, because to be honest with you, I don't think I knew what Americo's whole life name was, Eagle Premier, until 2.5 months in. I just knew it was Americo, the final expense one. That's it. Same with Mutual of Omaha. And then as you're starting to progress in this industry with Family First Life, you will start to realize, okay, these are the underwriting guidelines for here. I know that if he had a heart attack less than a year ago, I'm going to have to go somewhere else besides Americo. But if we're well past a year and everything else is pretty much okay, I can go ahead and run him through that MIB with pretty high certainty that he'll be approved with the end as well. Does that kind of help answer that question there, KJ?
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that you're calling when you're you called when you're in the home, but you made sure that you had your worksheet filled out first, so you knew what type of conversation to have with the leader.
Oh yeah, I actually just went through this with somebody who's still relatively new on my team. If you do not take this with you to each and every single appointment, you are doing yourself such a disservice, especially if you don't know the medications off the top of your head. And if you're not a pharmacist, whatever, and if you haven't been in this industry and haven't been able to hear these common diseases, these common medications, I still run into stuff that I've never heard of in my entire life before. I'm filling this out each and every single appointment, and I'm always taking a picture of this and saving it with me, and I'm filing it well after I see the client. So it is so important to do on there. It really just sets the tone. I go back, I ask everything. And then also I do dive into the mortgage to whether or not I don't even technically really run mortgage. I think every CRM lead and pretty much every lead, it's an all different type of lead. There's no such thing as just a final expense or just a mortgage. I think everyone needs a good mix of both. So I really figure out, is it right for the client? Is that something that matters to them? Does this pertain to them? And then from there, besides just taking care of the final expenses with the whole life or whatnot, from there, I will transition if they are older and they can't qualify for term. Very seldom do I really write term, to be honest with you. We'll then look into stacking whole lives. And then what that does mean for those of you that doesn't know is each company has a limit on their whole life and how much they're able to offer, that client is able to obtain from them. So when I'm talking about stacking, if they have 30,000 of equity in their mortgage, I wouldn't want that mortgage to get foreclosed or have nobody be able to keep up with bills, and then that can't stay in the family, whatever they want to do. So I'll take that 30,000 and I'll look at a different company to stack it on top of the America. And if it's income, then we're looking at that as well too. But it's really just painting a picture. And sometimes that picture is it's rather large and people kind of get sticker shock, but that's where we're able to kind of tweak from there. But that's what I mean in regards to stacking. So if it's America 30,000, Mutual of Omaha 40,000 and whatnot, but don't feel like you need to know all of the nitty gritty for how much do they go up to, or you know, what types of medication, what types of clients do they take, is there a waiting period? That's stuff that will help guide you through in this process as well.
Rachel, what do you person that just went through contracting their license, what leads do you recommend they start with, and what kind of leads do you recommend they start with?
Honestly, 3-month-old, 1-month-old CRM instant internet life leads. That's all that I write. Like, that's it. Sometimes I will do the instant internets, but quite frankly, I do expect to get beat up a little bit on the phones. I am perfectly okay with that. There's gold in those leads. There is absolute gold in those leads. They're very, I mean, coming into this, I came from a company where I did not have to pay for leads. So I was nervous, to say the least. You know, I was just kind of floored because I was so used to getting 100 leads and having to work those for probably about 6 months and getting referrals, and that was it. So coming over here, I was very excited that I had essentially an unlimited opportunity to obtain leads, but I was also very nervous because I didn't want my pockets hurt at the same time. But if you see anybody who's on the top paid issue boards, not even with Family First Life National, but across the board, it's whoever is working the most and whoever is buying the most leads. So you can get, and I have gotten this too. I've paid $40 for a mortgage mailer, and I've paid $1.50 on discount for a CRM lead, and I've made more off of that. You are going to have to work a little bit harder, a little bit longer to get the appointments that you need, but it's going to be worth it. Especially in the beginning, you either have two things. You have money, which most of us come in here and we do not have, or you have time. And if you have time, you need to be able to allocate that time to put yourself into a better position where if you do not want to spend that time on the phone that's required of you to do well, then you need to be able to spend the time to make the money to then not have to spend as much time on the phone if that's not your route to go. But most of us do come in here where we need to spend that time that we do have in order to book up a full schedule to go out and help these families. And in regards to scheduling, I do not go out in the field unless I have at least 7 to 8 appointments that day. If you have less than that, you're part-time, and you need to get up with your upline, figure out, okay, is it the number of dials that I'm doing? Am I not putting in enough effort? Is it the leads? Because there's something that's going on that we need to tweak, where our whole goal here is we want to work as hard as we possibly can in a condensed time to make the most of what we're putting into this. We're not trying to drag this out 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Some of us do because we're a little crazy like that and we love to do it. However, especially if you're part-time, I have so many part-time people, get up with your upline, come up with a game plan and stick to it. Stick with the schedule, and whatever time you say that you're going to be working, allocating toward working with Family First Life and running appointments and doing the dials. We make our money on the phones. So that's where you need to be the most intense. That's where we really need to cut out the distractions, and just kind of keeping inventory. I have a dial tracker with me at all times as well. Should be making between 35 to 45, 50 dials an hour. Just keep track of yourself, because if you don't, you can't really gauge yourself on where you're at and where we need to be. And plus, if you go to your upline for help, we want to help you as best we can, but we don't know what the heck's going on. So just keep track of yourself, stay organized with it, and then go to your upline, go to somebody who's doing well that you can relate to, and they'll be more than willing to help you out in that regard.
Awesome. And last question, so that we can get everyone to have a moment to understand how to book these appointments. So for the newest person, again, what's the best schedule to run? Is it dial a day, run a day, or is it, dial and run 2 days? And then what schedule do you run?
Yeah. So personally, we'll go into that later, but I think new person, the best schedule that you need to run right now is dial a day, run a day. Like I said, we don't need to be dragging out if you have 4 appointments in one day, we don't need to label that as a run day. You're going to be running around all day. No shows are inevitable. We can only control so many things that we can control. So you can't get emotional in this business. And I'm the queen of getting emotional. I'm still trying to rein it in. But, you know, if we only set 4 appointments for that day, show ratio is typically about 50%. Going out in the field with 2 appointments that you think are probably going to be there is just not going to cut it. So stick with dial day, run a day, dial day, run a day. I have been doing that. Sometimes I'll tweak it if I need to have a bigger weekend, or this past week, coming off of the holidays, I was a little bit under the weather. So I had to do dial day, run 2 days, and then I was back on dial day, run a day. And whatever time, there's no clock in, clock out here. As many of you already know, we don't just work a 9 to 5. Like for the dial days, we are not done booking until that next day schedule is full. Doesn't matter if it's 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Somebody in this organization is always on the phones. Usually it's me up until that late. Also with some micro too on like the weirdest of days. So feel free to always reach out, ask for help too. But until that schedule is booked up, you're doing a disservice to yourself tomorrow if you're not spending today pouring everything you have on the phones to make sure that you're set up the next day. We make our money on the phones.
That's so awesome. So Rachel, again, thank you so much. And do me a favor, I will stay on real quick because I'm actually, guys, going to go through the 3-month-old, the 1 to 3 month old lead script that I use, because last month I did spend most of my time working from home, and I did everything virtually off of
killing it.
Thank you. Off of 1 to 3 month old leads. So everybody's been asking, you know, what am I saying? So I felt like I'll bless you guys with that information today, right? And so the great thing about it is that I haven't changed anything. I just, you know, switched everything to virtual because as you guys know, if you have kids, my son is doing virtual learning now. So I have to help him with virtual learning and do virtual appointments and book appointments. It's crazy, but guess what? It's fine because when adversity strikes, you know, all you have to do is make that adjustment. And as long as you work hard and you stay consistent and persistent, you don't have to be the best. You will ultimately beat someone who is talented but doesn't work. So before we jump into kind of role playing, Rachel, guys, first one, you know, when it comes to dialing, give yourself enough time to get good. I always say this before you're, you know, terrible. You know, you gotta, well, no, I'm sorry. Before you're great, you gotta be good. And before you're good, you gotta be bad. Before you're bad, you gotta be terrible. And before you're terrible, you have to at least try. And you beat 50% of people who never even pick up the phone. So I will say that that always sticks and carries with me. And then also being consistent and persistent. So for me, it's definitely mindset. You have to treat yourself good and tell yourself good things. Even if you don't believe it, even if you don't know what's going to happen afterwards. I found out with myself, because trust me, negative thoughts always try to seep in, but I've conditioned myself for so long that if it does try to come in, it never stays more than 5 seconds before I switch it to a positive thought or a positive action. And what I found out for myself that could help a lot of you in this business is that the more times that I thought positive in fear, I had the best outcome versus thinking negative in fear with the worst outcome. And my bank account always stayed high when I thought positive without knowing the outcome in fear. So I leave you with that so that you can force yourself to condition your mind and your thoughts to stay in a positive light, taken with positive action, because then you ultimately produce positive results. So mindset is everything when you're starting to dial, guys. And then when you do dial, you gotta be, you gotta be prepared. Make sure you're purchasing your leads the day before, the day prior. We get a lot of people upset on Mondays when they can't jump into our CRM because so many people are trying to purchase leads at the last minute on the day that they're supposed to be dialing, right? So to not go through that pain, buy your leads Sunday, buy your leads the day before so you can be prepared, and print your leads or set them up on a spreadsheet so you're ready to dial first thing in the morning. Then you got to make sure you're buying, all right, what kind of leads are you going to buy? and how many are you buying? If you're not buying at least 100 to 150 leads on the CRM, you're doing yourself a disservice. You need at least 100 to 150 leads, and that's for one run day. Then you can get really good, like me, Rachel, Kali, and a lot of the leaders on here, where those leads will probably last you for a week, right? But again, don't compare yourself to us, because you can't compare yourself to time. We've been here for a while, so you have to give yourself time to grow and learn and get really, really good. And the only way to do that is to be consistent and persistent at working these leads. We were not this great in the beginning. I can promise you that. I was terrible. But the only way that I got good is by letting the leadership, and also like people like Jamie and Khalid, let them listen to me and hear me, so that they can make the proper adjustments on what I was saying in order for me to have success, as well as plugging into live dials, because then you get to hear what other leaders are saying, so that you can take that information and use it for yourself to have success. And then, making sure you're setting your day up correctly. What counties are you going in? Are all your counties together, right? You don't have success, guys, if you're running and driving all over the place. Make sure the leads that you're buying are close knit together. That's if you're doing it in the field. If you're doing it virtually, it doesn't matter, right? But if you're in the field, make sure that, your appointments are at least 10 to 15 minutes apart from each other. I know Rachel's really good. She uses this thing called Road Warrior, which allows her to collapse her time frames. And she puts all those leads in where it puts them all in order based on the area that it's in. It's an app called Road Warrior, right? And if we ever get on here again, which we will, she'll elaborate on that. But when dialing these 1 to 3 month old leads, it's the same internet script, guys, but we tweak the words a little bit to match the lead, okay? So that you can have the best success. So when I'm dialing these leads, guys, and what I'm going to do, since we're cramped for time, I'm going to just jump in, and I'm going to do the script with Rachel, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Okay, you ready, Rachel?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is what I say. All right. So when I'm dialing let's use it 3 month old leads, right? These are older leads, guys. They filled this out maybe 3 months ago. And, I buy them all up, right? Because the more leads you have, the better chances you have of booking a full day. All right. Especially with the work spot discounts. All right. So, ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, Rachel.
Yes.
Hi, Rachel. My name is Corinne. I'm one of the managers here with the Benefits Center for the DC area. Just giving you a quick call. Our office has been trying to get in contact with you about this request you put in online a few months ago for state affordable life insurance. You put your date of birth here is 5/7/1965. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Great. Now, Rachel, was this information just for you, or was this for you and your family?
Yeah, it was for me and my fiance.
That's perfect. Do you and your fiance have kids?
No.
No? Okay, not a problem. Just so I'm not rude, what's your fiance's name?
Rich.
Awesome. So for Rachel and Rich, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So they have me set to do this tomorrow. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes. What I do is go over what you're eligible for, and I shop around for you to get you the best rates and any state discounts that might be available. Like I said, it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Are you and Rich working, retired, or disabled?
We're currently working.
You're both working. Perfect. Now, what time are you both normally home and settled in together?
Probably latest by about 6:30.
That's actually perfect. I have my last time slot between 7 and 8 p.m. Would that work for you both tomorrow?
Mm-hmm. It would.
Perfect. Now I have you in the district area over in Northwest. Are you still in Northwest?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that 1609 Main Street, apartment 103?
Yes.
Perfect. Now with that apartment, is there a code that I would need to get the building, or can I just walk in and knock on your door?
You can just walk in and knock on the door. You'll see the numbers.
Perfect. And house parking, is there like a visitor's parking, or do I park on the street? How does that work?
You can park right in the parking lot that we have here.
Perfect. Now, are there any killer animals I need to worry about? I just want to make sure I leave them on.
Yeah, I have 2 pit bulls.
Nice. Are they going to be put away by the time that I get there?
If they're not, you'll hear them at the door, and I'll make sure I put them away real quick.
Okay, perfect. Not a problem. Do me a favor, Rachel. If you could go ahead and grab a pen and paper, I want to go ahead and give you my name in this confirmation so that you don't forget about our appointment tomorrow. And then you can also let Rich know as well so that he can make sure he's there.
Okay, perfect. And I'm ready when you are.
Perfect. My name is Corinne. Guys, I spell it out for her. And guys, as you know, my tone is I'm getting my point across in a short period of time, but I'm my time with it so that I don't have to go back and repeat myself, because again, we're on a time, we want to make sure we book our appointments so that we can spend the rest of our day, whether it be hiring, or if you're not hiring, maybe if you're a mom and you're cooking and you have kids, like we got to get this done, right? Okay, Rachel. So my name is Corinne Giles. I have a set for, we said between 7 and 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right. Now you'll know that it's me, Rachel. I have a state ID badge around my neck. And then I will be there. Do you have a doorbell on your apartment, or should I just knock really hard?
You can just knock really hard.
I'm sure the dogs will let you know I'm there, right?
They sure will.
Okay, perfect. And do me a favor, if you and Rich are on any medications, if you can have those medications out for me, just so it would save us about 5 to 10 minutes on that appointment. Is that okay? Perfect. All right. I'll see you tomorrow, but you and Rich between 7 and 8. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Guys, it's really that simple. And you say the same thing. Don't switch it up. Say it to everybody, right? And the great thing about this is I use certain things that I say because guys, when I say that they filled this out a few months ago, 3 months is too long. And I found out when I started saying 3 months, people weren't giving the best reaction because they're like, why did you wait that long? And then I would have to, run back and say, oh, well, because of COVID, but then when you say COVID, then they're like, oh, so now you want to come to my home? No, don't come to my home because of COVID, right? So I found out by saying a few. Okay, you know what, Mary, I will do that next week. I will go over virtual next week, how I do it. That will be the next, I got you guys. But yeah, so I say you fill this out a few months ago because a few months is a couple of months and it's not that long ago. So they know it, we didn't wait that long and we got to them in a timely fashion. I also say that our office has been trying to get in contact with them. So because it brings that emotion where they feel a little bit bad that they weren't answering numbers, because people are getting so many robocalls, guys, or scam calls, that I could have been one of those people that really was trying to get in contact with them about what they really filled out and they were missing that call. So now they're open to hear more about what I'm trying to say. And then I let people know I'm a manager, because then when people are so title driven, it's almost like, I don't know if you guys have ever talked to someone who who was like a millionaire or billionaire, or who had a bunch of money, and then like your mood or shift change. Like you stand up a little taller, you talk a little bit better, especially when you're in front of people of high leadership, right? I know it happens for me. But it kind of wakes them up on the other side of the phone when you say they're a manager, because you're there to really take care of them. And then everything else stays the same with, making sure you stick to the script, and also tying that down at, doing your tie downs where you're asking, should I park on the street? Or the parking lot, or should I knock on your door really hard? Or is there a doorbell? Or do you have any animals? Because you're engaged, you're wanting them to talk, you're wanting them to engage, because you can then feel the energy of the call if they're serious about really meeting with you or not. And then at that point, guys, you can rate your appointments if it's really solid or if you're just not sure. And if you're not sure, those are those appointments where you maybe want to double book just in case, because they didn't sound that confident that they want to meet with you. They just didn't want to tell you no. Guys, people are people, but the more appointments you set, I can guarantee you the more success you'll have, because like Rachel said, with these appointments, and I'll finish this off with these appointments, 50% are going to reschedule or cancel, that regardless whether you know them, family members, friends, or even people that you're calling from this lead system. So make sure you have 8 to 12 appointments set so that you can have a great close ratio. Bare minimum, you're closing 1 to 3 appointments every other day. Well, listen, guys, I can tell you what, right now, I wish this could go a lot longer, but we are strapped for time, and we realize that people do have lives, and we want to stick to our time. I will go over next week virtual what I'm doing to have success and spend a lot more time with you guys. But take all the information that we have here today and what Rachel said and go run it up this week. Let's get it done. It's a new year. Only you can decide how your new year is going to go based on your work ethic and what you put into this year and every year thereafter. So it is over 12 o'clock, guys. I love you guys. If you have a question, please call me or text me directly. And you guys go crush it this week. Have a great day. Love you all. And Rach, thanks so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.